eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. I'm Taylor Olstead, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Reed.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Academy for this award.
And Sean Evans.
Hey!
Hey! That was better. That was better. I should just cut the part where I made where I just thanked the Academy. You know what? Suck, Academy. Hey!
He's such a rebel. Tyler, what are we doing this week?
This week, we're trying to find the perfect song for Feeling God in this Chili's tonight. Submitted by me! But, if you think Child sucks and you want to submit a better one, you can DM us at us on Instagram and Twitter at NoRepeatPod, or you can send us an email at NoRepeatPod@gmail.com.
So, Feeling God in this Chili's tonight is, of course, a reference to the U.S. version of The Office, Season 2, Episode 1, The Dundies, in which the Dunder Mifflin staff go to a local Chili's for their annual inter-office awards show, The Dundies, and Pam, the secretary/love interest on the show, gets absolutely hammered, and upon receiving a Dundie, says, "And I feel God in this Chili's tonight." That's it. That's the reference. It has become a meme. It's a whole thing. It's basically just hyping up something that doesn't necessarily need to be that hype, especially if you're very drunk. I guess normally we would talk about our level of experience with a thing. I don't really want to talk about, like, how much of The Office have you watched? Or have you ever...
No, we're not talking about that.
Or have you ever been to Chili's?
Yes. Actually, I went to Chili's about 2 years ago, like right before the pandemic, and I hadn't been there in probably like 3 or 4 years up until that part. And I was actually really surprised at how good the food really was. My expectations were very low, and I was very happy with the meal.
In my opinion, I think of the, like, casual chain restaurants of this genre, Chili's is the best, like, all-around menu, food-wise.
What else is in the genre of Chili's? Applebee's, of
Don
course, but like what else?
Applebee's, TGI Fridays.
Would you put Red Robin in that category?
Yeah, I would put Red Robin in there.
Olive Garden.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a Texas Roadhouse or an Outback Steakhouse or anything like that. It's like a primarily burgers and sandwiches and various kooky entrees.
Does O'Charlie's exist any place outside of Cincinnati?
It does. There aren't very many of them left, but I would also say O'Charlie's is in this camp as well.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Like, oh, they're based out of Nashville too. Interesting.
For me, like, I have not been to one of these types of restaurants in a very, very long time. I'm generally against them as a concept because I would prefer to eat at something more local. However, sometimes you're with people who that's what they want to do. Or on occasion, especially when we were in college, there were ridiculous, like, stunt meals and stunt specials at these places that made it worth going to. Like, the Applebee's in our college town would do, like, $2 drink night one night of the week or something. And it was like the hordes of college students descended upon the Applebee's. So I guess for me, what I'm saying is, like, as a very occasional thing, I can respect a loaded nacho platter from a Chili's, but I'm not trying to be there every Friday night at the bar, watching the sport ball, communing with our Lord and Savior Chili God.
Because I feel like the general consensus is that you either want something that is quicker for roughly the same price, and that sort of was like Chipotle was sort of like the go-to for that, like the fast casual, but like now everything's kind of fast casual, or you want something that's like more local and probably a little bit more expensive, but it's probably going to like taste infinitely better. And I feel like that's kind of squished out that genre of restaurant completely. So, but so like, I feel like when I was like trying to like interpret this challenge, I was just thinking about what would be aside from, I was trying not to be like, what if I was accepting an award for my paper company, like I was trying to ignore that and trying to think about like what the phrase was. And I was like, what's a song that is going to be like, what I just happened to maybe be at a Chili's or, any sort of fast cat or like, whatever, any sort of place like that, and like maybe a couple drinks in, and like the song would come on, and it sort of makes me feel infinite, which I feel like we've sort of like loosely interpreted feeling infinite as like a little bit of sad, a little bit of happy. It's like feeling the human condition in a single moment. And so like, but like the song is gonna be played at like half volume on a bad speaker, and the playlist is not gonna be contemporary in any capacity. That was like, what's gonna be the best song out of all of that?
Yep. I had a very specific experience that I called back to in this moment. It's not at like one of these restaurants, strictly speaking, but I moved to Atlanta on New Year's Eve 2015 going into 16, and so we like drove all through the day, the moving truck and my car down from Ohio, and just unpacked everything into my house that I was renting here, and then went back to the hotel my dad was staying in because we like got in so late we didn't even want to put my bed together for me to sleep there. And we rung in New Year's in the hotel restaurant and bar with a set of strangers. And that was a feeling God in this Chili's moment, very much like Tyler's talking about, where like up until the ball drop, we were just listening to the like adult contemporary classic rock like that they play in every hotel bar. And, sometimes the right song from the past just hits you at the right time, and no matter how cheesy and like schlocky and fake the environment is, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, we're doing this now. Bring me another of those $8 whiskey sours that I don't want to think about what's in it.
Well, you already know.
And I'll have the loaded macaroni and cheese, please.
I'll have the most indulgent appetizer food ever. So could you just bring me mozzarella sticks, macaroni and cheese mix with some sort of potato skin with buffalo wings on top, please?
I would like a tortilla burger, please.
Yes, there is always it's either called like a tortilla burger or it's going to be like the Santa Fe burger.
Because it's like the only thing that has like some zest in it in any capacity.
It has avocados.
No, that's not true.
It's got a Southwest sauce.
I would almost go with notoriously so. All of these restaurants are going to have the saltiest fries you've had ever.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's also going to be the best part.
Yeah. When they ask, they shouldn't even ask. They're like, are fries okay? Yes, fries are okay. What kind of monster would order any other side?
Baked potato and fries. Onion
rings? No. Now listen, that's I feel like onion rings can be a real toss.
Okay,
but a French fry you can count on it.
If we're really diving in on these restaurants, I think the only proper time to order onion-based appetizers at any of these places is a Bloomin' Onion at Outback Steakhouse, or the Tower of Onion Rings at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Oh no, I was gonna say at Red Robin. Yeah, well, Red Robin's got a good tower as well. Yeah. Bloomin' can get kind of weird. The outside is always going to be crispy, but it's always if it's not done just right, sometimes you get that like uncooked,
little gooey,
battered onion in the middle. That's a little weird.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. There's an art to the Bloomin'.
Yeah, I don't want somebody's first day to be you're making the Bloomins.
I don't think you're allowed to do that on the first day.
So, like, pro tip for the listeners though, when you get a Bloomin', do you have the sauce on the side and just have a no double dip rule, or do you just, do a nice coating on the inside and just let it all seep into the middle?
Ooh, I've never thought about that, but I like that. I usually...
See, Tyler said no, but you were really down for that.
Could get a little soggy. Could get soggy, depending. That means it's finger messy. It's already going to be messy. You're eating a bunch of onions with your hands.
Yeah, I think it depends on how many people and how close you are with them. Because, like, if it's just me and my boyfriend splitting an entire Bloomin' Onion, I'm not going to pour sauce all over that thing because, like Tyler said, it's going to get soggy before we can ever get the chance to eat it all.
But if you're eating it with 8 strangers, like 8 people at a brewery or something.
Yeah, if it's like an after-work happy hour and there's a Bloomin' Onion for the table, yes, pour the sauce on because everybody's only going to have a little bit. And then you don't even have to deal with the question of double dipping.
I was able to make like a full like playlist, like a almost 2-hour playlist of songs from this challenge. Thinking of just songs that
me too.
Because I was like, what's an early 2000s soft rock hit that would make me cry if I was a little drunk?
I love your description because that's exactly what I was thinking. I was truly like, what is the song that if it played when I was like 2 or 3 beers in at a family function at a Outback or Chili's or similar, I would like completely dissociate and just go into the music.
The absolute correct answer, and you could fight me to death on this because this is the hill I die on. It is Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol because I've walked into a Kroger before and been like, why am I crying? What? Like, why is it just playing everywhere? Why is this? The song is too sad.
I can't with that song.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot. It's immediately a lot.
You cry to this song?
I'm just saying it's an emotional song. It's like if I lay here. It's like it's just very melancholy. It hits you very quickly.
Well, since we can't bloom our own onions here, I guess it's time to experience our Lord and Savior inside of a Chili's. Who would like to go first?
My method was different than you guys, so I want to go first this week.
Okay, that sounds great.
Right.
You should do that.
What do you got?
Okay. All right, so this week I chose Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen.
Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby. I could use just a little bit. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
I've refamiliarized myself by watching the clip a couple of times so I could be like, okay, what was the headspace for this song? And I felt like when Pam was delivering her speech, it wasn't that she was like really saying like, I feel God in this Chili's tonight. It was because she was drunk and it was like, what do you say when you don't like all the Oscar speeches that you might have ever watched? Like, what do they always say? And Taylor is probably the most expert at this because I don't really watch the Oscars that much, but I feel like this man genuinely throws Oscar parties on an annual basis. Yeah. So, and I just thought like, well, that's probably where the, I feel God in this restaurant tonight comes from. But then I was also like, if I was in a Chili's and I was like a few drinks in, you guys know that I have this Tyler knows on the periphery. Taylor knows. I have this uncontrollable desire
To be the boss?
I get a little loud and I like to mock singers when their songs come on. And I can...
We used to call this hollering. You knew Sean was drunk because he'd start hollering. I feel like this is a perfect hollering song.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna go around it. Everyone do a little Springsteen.
And if I was drunk and Dancing in the Dark came on, I don't have any idea what the lyrics are. I'm not even that big of a fan of Bruce Springsteen, but you could definitely get me like hollering Bruce and then doing my best impersonation of Bruce Springsteen drunkenly to this song. And I just think that's what my speech would have been if I was in Pam's situation. You know, like, what's your last line that you walk off of the stage when you accept your award and being like, let's all keep dancing in the dark. And then thank you. And then you just walk away. You know, like, I think that just works for me.
Bruce is such an interesting figure because sometimes he is really good at doing the, like, song that seems upbeat but is ironically very sad. And then there's songs like this one that are like, you can tell there's some emotional weight to these lyrics, but it is kind of just a fun, like, mid-tempo pop song. And it has a killer chorus with a great synth line. And when you watch the music video, Bruce is performing this live in a concert setting and giving you face into the camera constantly. Like, he is so aware. It definitely seems like parts of this have been shot without an audience present at like a rehearsal, because there's no way you could get the close-ups of his face and his smiling eyes that he gets. But I say all of this to say, you have to go look at this video, because the dance he does in the last 20 seconds when he drags a girl on stage is exactly the feeling God in this Chili's tonight drunk listening to Dancing in the Dark dance. It is like a weird swaggery thing where your arms just kind of float from side to side. They don't really have any like position or rhythm to them. It's just like they're just kind of whipping around. He looks like somebody's soccer coach who had a few too many Sharktinis during Shark Week at Applebee's, and he's just feeling himself, you know. And good for him, and good for you if that's you. I think this song is iconic. It has that great synth line. Bruce's gravelly voice just feels so familiar, and yet so like piercing. Like, you know what this song is as soon as it starts playing. It's classic.
I'm so glad that Taylor brought up the music video, because like, I watched it a few times. I had actually never seen this music video before, and it's great, and how simple it is. And
it's definitely early MTV for sure.
Yeah. But you're right. That is such a weak dance in terms of like under a microscope, you're like, this is a bad dance. But like, I think what's most important, and I've learned a lot in these last few years, is that it doesn't matter what you do necessarily, or what you say necessarily. If someone thinks you're cute, or you're just feeling yourself, that's gonna make it the most attractive thing in the world. And I'm like, I'm smitten by Bruce in this moment. I'm like, I want to be that girl in that audience and pulled up into that show and dancing with Bruce. I'm like, hell yeah. He's confident, and you're right, he's given us a lot of face. You're like, ooh.
He's stared straight into your soul.
Yeah. But anyway, so that means I think that all sort of feels perfect for like Sean. That was a 1-to-1, great connection, feels perfect. But yeah, I feel like if you had talked to me about Bruce like a couple months ago, I would have been like, I mean, he's all right, I guess. But I went into a deep dive on Bruce like in the middle of summer, and I'm a big fan of the Boss now. I love him. At least this album, Dancing in the Dark, is like an objectively like a great album. But I do feel like he kind of has that sort of like Bob Dylan sort of thing where he kind of goes into his voice a little too much, becomes a little more of a character, the further along he goes along. But yeah, I mean, I love that this synth feels so almost out of place on the song in terms of like kind of what he normally does, but it's so cool, feels so sick. I mean, it's like perfect for like the time period it's in, and best of all, Sean, this has got a secret sax in it.
I know, right? Right at the end. Snuck it in.
Because you can't have the E Street Band and not have a little sax solo.
Yeah. Just a little sax solo as a treat. So I think
in this exact moment, I have a regret that I didn't have a big wedding reception with at least the both of you, because whoever's wedding is next that has a big reception, it's going to be wild how many, like, inside music jokes are going to be happening. And there's going to be, like, so many people that have no idea what's going on. It's
California. California.
Right. It's just going to be, like, 3 people's inside jokes for 6 hours. And occasionally there'll be, like, a peripheral person that will know what's happening. But
this would also be a strong contender for Play Twice at a Wedding.
Double play, yeah.
I mean, but this was going to be a perfect song no matter what. Let's just say what it is. This is going to be good for most challenges. But yeah, I think this is especially like, it's sort of like a little older. And, I feel like it probably plays in most bars, just in general.
It's hard not to like
and
it.
it sounds good even at half volume.
Well, speaking of things that are a little bit older, I guess I can go next, since my pick is also from the mid-'80s. This week I chose Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. So, I will admit I was partially influenced by TikTok with this pick, because I sent the guys a TikTok a few weeks ago that I will put in show notes that is a gag video about a bar having Running Up That Hill night where the only song they play is Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. And you know what? I might go to that bar. I love this song. This song is almost perfect. It sounds great no matter what volume you play it at. If it's on softly, it's kind of subtle and calming and familiar. If you crank it, she is belting her lungs out. Those synths are iconic. I mean, that chorus is just so good. If I only could make a deal with God. Like, make that deal, Kate. Run up that hill. Because if this song comes on in Chili's, even if I've had one drink, I'm going to be zoned in. And if it's like kind of soft, it's a full dissociative state. I am in Kate Bush's mind palace. Like, this song is a world unto itself. If it is playing loud, you best believe it's going to be a kind of weird emotional party moment in that Chili's. Because this song is danceable, but it's got some feels behind it, It's the kind of song that, like, everybody hears it and they're like, oh man, Running Up That Hill. What a song. Like, I don't know. I think it's a classic. It's, important for its innovative use of synthesizers and her self-production and all that stuff. But I mostly just love it. It's a fun pop song, and it seems like it would play in a Chili's.
My only thing about this song is that it's 5 minutes long. I know, but
You just get to eat twice. You only get to eat once when it twice as long.
But that said, I think this is a really good song for this challenge because you're right. It's basically packed with feelings. This whole song is like, oh man, you can't really go wrong with it, like you said. Like you play it soft, it's emotional. You play it loud, it's loud and emotional. Sorry, I don't really know where I was going with that one. But no, I think it works really good. I don't know off the top of my head any other songs by Kate Bush. I feel like I need to investigate her discography a little bit more.
The album that this is on is excellent. Hounds of Love. So the first 5 tracks are like poppy singles like this. This is actually the starting track. And then the second half of the record is like one big long medley soundscape thing. Because she wanted to keep doing like pop music, but she also wanted to experiment. And so she holed up in her house and built a studio and made this crazy album. It's a really cool piece of work. Definitely check it out.
The Big Sky is a good like sort of starter track. It's the third track down, but it's kind of hits you real quick and real early on. So it's like it's a little bit more grounded than Running Up That Hill. Because I can see how. Maybe listening to this one in particular, it sort of feels a little bit more meandering. Like it doesn't have quite the like structure, of a typical like pop song. So I feel like maybe not like you're like, I don't know if I understand what I'm listening to on first listen. Anyway, I feel like this is sort of a dark horse. Like I don't know what Chili's you're going to. That's gonna be.
I'm saying it's late in the night. Like Chili's is about to close.
Fine. Yeah.
He's shutting Chili's down.
That's fine. That I would say that's my only critique, is that I'm like, well, it's a little sus, but it's an 80s song that's pretty popular, and let's just say someone goes rogue and they just play whatever they want, and then you're like, that would be perfect. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's weird I don't feel like I was properly prepared to like discuss Kate Bush on the Chili's episode, so like I feel like I'm a little like under like prepared to talk about this, because like I have like listened to Hounds of Love so many times, but I'm still like sort of like trying to consume it and really trying to like understand my feelings about it. But
it is, as we say in graduate school, a rich text.
Yes. But yeah, but I think like my favorite part about Kate Bush generally is that I feel like she's able to create such a sort of a fantasy. She creates such a world within her songs, and it feels like you really go to a place whenever you listen to her music, and so it's very transportative. So I feel like if you get latched on to like the vocals, like kind of like while you're sort of meandering through, like you're sort of like just thinking about stuff, and like you hear a lyric and you're like start to like focus on that, and I could totally see how you could feel pretty infinite at a Chili's while you're listening to the song. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, somebody in the comment sections of the YouTube video, someone said the song is haunting, soothing, and entrancing all at once. And I feel like that is like the perfect like description of like what this song is and what a song at Chili's should be that takes you to another place.
All right, Tyler, that just leaves you. What song did you bring us?
This week I chose Everywhere by Michelle Branch.
'Cause you're everywhere to me. And when I close my eyes, it's you I see. You're everything I know that makes me believe I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I recognize the way you make me feel.
So, fun little story. Baby Tyler, I remember getting a clock radio at a very young age, roughly around this time when this song came out, in which I would like put on Q102 before I went to bed, and I would always be so entranced by this song. I feel like I was still probably dealing with like a lot of like toxic masculinity garbage and whatever, but I was like, I like this song so much. So I just want everyone to imagine baby me going to sleep to this song. But anyway, so like I said, I was kind of looking for a song that sort of made me feel a lot of different things kind of at once. And so I feel like kind of like the 90s were like a great era for like sort of like mishmashing of lots of different sounds. I think like lots of people were trying different things, and it sort of created a lot of songs I feel like had a really high impact. I feel like it really tugged at you. There's a sort of like almost melancholy sense I get from like that era and a lot of like the pop songs. And so like Everywhere is really sort of like a happy, but it's also sort of like a wistful song. You know, they're like, I love this, or I'm infatuated with this person. I just see them everywhere. And so they're longing to be with that person. And so like, you know, I feel like it's a very relatable song. And, you know, being single for 4 years, I'm like, oh God, I just want to find love. And so sitting alone at a Chili's, I'm like, it would definitely take me to a place. But I feel like that's just compounded by, I mean, Michelle Branch had great, powerful voice. She's given a great performance in this song. And also sort of like the like mixture of like the acoustics and sort of like little like trap beats in there. It's like, I don't know, it feels like it combines a lot of different kind of sounds that really just add for a high impact. And of course that chorus is going like 110%. And you're like, that's the part when it gets me, I'm like, anyway,
he's so real with us this evening. This is a vulnerable Tyler that I love.
This song is so iconic. And I mean, just a couple of like quick biographical notes on Michelle Branch. She wrote the first draft of this song when she was 15 and released this version when she was 17. Like, we forget how young Michelle Branch was This was the lead single from her breakout album in 2001. She was not even a legal adult. It's not fair that she's this talented. She's also married to Patrick Carney, the drummer from the Black Keys.
Yo.
Really?
She's about to have her second child with him. Like, what a life. What a woman. An incredible talent. We don't deserve her. This song is absolutely iconic. That false stop before that chorus, every time it hits just right. There were a couple of things I noticed re-listening to this song this week, though. It is definitely in that Y2K pop subgenre. And you can kind of hear, like, how young she is and how, like, she's still kind of finding her voice. Because there's moments in this song where she's pulling a little bit of Christina on the bridge. She's doing kind of a Britney, like, squeaky thing for a minute. But the chorus is the sound that Michelle Branch would eventually become known for. And it's so interesting to me that she's got this song that's like a little bit of everyone, but it's still so like specifically her. And I have to imagine that's part of what made it such a huge hit. Like, not to make a pun, but this song really was everywhere for like 3 years in the early 2000s. Like, you could not turn on anything, TV, radio, VH1. The music video for this was a huge deal. Like, I think we are now solidly in the era where Y2K pop will absolutely be playing in chain restaurants, and we will recognize it wistfully. So,
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
It's been playing in supermarkets since we were like even in high school. I feel like I remember like walking through Kroger one day in Eastgate and hearing a No Doubt song, and at first I was like, I would never want to hear my song inside of a grocery store. And then I thought to myself, no, you know what? That's the sign that you've made it. Like, if you're walking around in a Walmart and your song is playing in there, you did it. You've, like, really managed to make a song that is appeals to everybody. Like Seven Nation Army, Stadium Chant, you've done it. Yeah, I think this is probably this is probably on a song that I, like, taped over another song on a cassette tape, probably off of Q102. But that being said, yeah, I really feel like this was like, she came out in the prime time too. Like, this was like the Britney Spears, Jessica Simpson, Spice Girls were on their way out. Liz Phair had a bunch of stuff that was on the radio during this time. I'm like really tapping into the recesses of my mind here for like stuff I was listening to.
But she was so
Goo Goo
interesting
Dolls.
because she was more rock than that. Like, she was definitely more of a rock singer than a
right.
Britney or a Christina was.
Right. She definitely set the way for like artists that would come later, like Avril Lavigne, who kind of set the way for Paramore. I feel like there was just like, if you looked at that lineage, I think there was a lot of like female rock vocalists and singers that they weren't, how do I say this? They weren't like the American Idol Carrie Underwood types. They were definitely solid within the alternative mix, right? Where they would have been on tour with a studio band probably, but they definitely knew how to play guitar and they were into listening to rock music. That's really what they were trying to get done. So yeah, no, this is a really good pick. I could definitely see this being your Chili song. What would be your last line as you accepted the award here? It's like to this song. I'm just out of curiosity. Is it because you're everywhere to me?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds great. That sounds perfect. Fun fact: they just released a 20th anniversary edition of this album, with re-recorded, so you get to hear a current day Michelle Branch sing the song.
All right, now it's time for notable B-sides. These were songs that were so close to getting on the playlist for Chili's, but I don't know, didn't quite make the appetizer sampler. Anybody got some bonus tracks?
I only had one, and I think it was a tough pick, but I need to save this song for later. In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, okay. I don't like Phil. I don't like
you
Genesis.
love that song.
But yeah, that it plays.
Chasing Cars, All These Things I've Done, Speed of Sound, Over My Head, by the
Cable
Fray.
Car by the Fray. Yes.
Yeah. Jumper.
He just ran
Shine
that.
by Collective Soul.
Oh my god.
Good Riddance, Time of My Life, Green Day. I Miss You, Blink-182, Look What You've Done by Jet, Best of You by the Foo Fighters,
You just went down to greatest hits, didn't you?
California by Phantom Planet, One Thing by Finger 11, Dark Blue by Jack's Mannequin, 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlson, Breathe 2 AM by Anna Nalick, Stay I Miss You by Lisa Loeb, I Will Follow You to the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie, Drops of Jupiter by Train. Okay,
I feel like Tyler just rediscovered one of my high school mix CDs.
Somewhere Only We Know by Keen, City of Blinding Lights by U2, You and Me by Lifehouse, Wish You Were Here by Incubus, Alright, Collide by Howie Day, we're done. Alright, that's it.
I was gonna say, do you just want to plug your playlist? It'd probably be like
Yeah.
a little bit easier.
We'll put the playlist in the show notes. Collide by Howie Day. I have not thought about that song in years.
All right, well, I'll go from order from songs I like to super tacky songs. Songs that I like, I think that, oh man, sorry, I'm blanking, so I have to look it up. Fortunate Son by CCR. Definitely would be one of my up there songs. And then probably one of the sleeper hits of this time that Tyler just does was Days Go By Dirty Vegas. If you can remember that song or look it up, it's a classic. You've probably heard it sampled in a bunch of stuff, and it's just has never gotten on your radar. And then Tackly, Dave Matthews Band, Crash Into Me.
Yes.
You could probably get that onto any Chili's playlist to go to town on Dave Matthews. And then Mark Cohn, Walking in Memphis. You can't tell me that song is not played in every chain restaurant every day. Walking in Memphis. Just saying. Classic. Sit down casual.
Well, Tyler, if people want to split a half-price app with you, where can they find you?
Hey everybody, come on my design and illustration work at rudepets.club. Got some Christmas cards coming up here soon. I realize it's a little early for that, but they're coming out. Be on the lookout. And you can follow me on the socials as Rude Pets Club on Instagram and Twitter.
Sean, if people want your recipe for molten lava cakes, where can they get that?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at TallySean.
And if you want to hang your school team sports picture on the wall at my place, you can tweet at me at TC Oldstead. All of these songs will be on the official No Repeat podcast playlist. And we'll be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.